the human, the individual, is a reflection and an expression of pure spirit. And for thousands of years, we've tended to separate that out. And in this very simple movement, you find that this human expression, this individuation, is the same substance, the same root, and is quite included. So by bringing the eyes, or the attention behind the eyes, dropping into the center of the body, using the spine perhaps as like that touchstone, letting it drop and settle. And there's a kind of a relaxing, an opening. And the settling is a very vital piece to understand or to become familiar with, because you begin to see that this sense of well-being and this openness and this settling and this deep relaxation, it actually is what you are. We are so programmed to be identified with the stress, the conditioning, the pushing, the grabbing, the sense of isolation, and the conditioned dream that's constantly speaking itself in the center of the head. And when you just drop out of that and you drop the eyes and have that sense of resting, simply being still, and that feeling of well-being, of being supported, all is well in this moment. The next moment has its own image and sensation and memory, but in this moment, all is absolutely, totally well. And that settling into oneself, into the ground, the womb of everything, then naturally, it's not something that has to be cultivated or directed. Naturally, there's an opening and an expanding as there's a deepening and settling and resting. It's all happening in the same moment. Dropping, settling, opening, expanding. And it just has this feeling, though the paradox is there's a deep sense of support, the deep holding. And in the same moment, there's a sense of there's no really position to take or nothing to grab onto or nothing to, here I am, I've arrived. It just simply is infinite. And so it's forever dropping and opening, relaxing, settling. All is well here. And just one little addition. If you can feel yourself, and it's helpful if you can bring your eyes directed down and then direct as much as possible the eyes back into the body. So it's a kind of like a diving back unto oneself, a settling back unto oneself. And in that settling and that sort of diving back into the depth of one's being, there's a dissolving or kind of absorbing that separate sense of me, the me that is identified with its thoughts, the me that's trying not to think, the me that's trying to relax, settle, follow, or perhaps is just simply not particularly relating. All of that will come up, and if let alone, all of that will dissolve and absorb back unto this greater more silent womb of everything. For anything that arises in thought or image or sensation, it all comes from the same ground. And it arises and it blooms. And then, if not grabbed onto, it just simply dissolves and comes back and disappears. It comes out of the infinite, expresses, and falls back into the infinite. And so that illusion that they are two, the ground, that arises, expresses, and then that falls back unto the home ground, you begin to realize, not that you've read or not that someone has spoke this, you just simply begin to see it as it is, that the two have never been separated, that the two have always been one. There's just simply movement, appearance within the stillness. Movement and appearance within the stillness. So even that sense that these are a person, a separate me's thoughts, that begins to relax as well. And the resting, the identity, if you will, just is being held and stabilizing and settling into this infinite, still ground. And it's a kind of a deep nourishment, very deep feeding, a well-being. All is well here in this moment. Nothing to add, nothing to take away. So just for a few moments, just rest. And if you can add just that little bit of coming back and dissolving unto oneself. Coming back and dissolving into oneself. There's that sense then of what actually is happening is the change of occupancy. It's not a new and improved me. It's a dissolving of the separate sense of me. And all the old dreams and the old conditionings, they too dissolve. And then any sense of division, any sense of the other, on its own, spontaneously, absolves, dissolves back unto the home ground. So just for a minute, just experience that. Falling back and dissolving. Falling back unto oneself and dissolving. The self-reflection is over here. It just is resting, stable, here, present, alert, alive.